What's going on, gamers? My name is John with Gamester81.com, and this is part 2 of games I've been playing and picked up. In this series, I'm going to talk about over 140 different games, over 30 different platforms, and part 1, I talked about NES, the Game Boy games I picked up, Game Gear, ColecoVision, among others, so I encourage you guys to check out part 1. I'll put a link so you guys can check that out first. First we're going to start off with is Mickey's Speedway USA, and this is actually a really fun game. This is by Rare, who also made Diddy Kong Racing. This is kind of like Diddy Kong Racing meets Disney characters. Really fun racing game for the N64. I paid $15 for it. You got different characters like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, and it's actually, I like the characters, I like the levels. Kind of an underrated game for the N64. Definitely worth checking out. Next game I picked up in box. I paid $5 for this at Goodwill. It's priced at $10. It was a half off sale. I find a lot of games at Goodwill. This is Rampage World Tour. This is a great game. I love the original Rampage for the arcade. This character, you have the same characters. You have the rat, the lizard, and the gorilla. You're supposed to destroy buildings. Love the graphics in this. There's different stages and levels. Really fun port, and this is by Midway. Next game I picked up, I paid $3.50 for. I'm not a huge fan. It's complete in box though, but this is Mission Impossible for the N64. This is a third-person game shooter. Almost, I was expecting like a Bond style game, and unfortunately, this game isn't. I mean, it's kind of like that, but not. It's not first-person shooter. First off, it's a third-person. It's by Ocean. Not a big fan of this game. Last game I picked up was a complete in box. This is Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is $5. I got this at Goodwill. It's priced at $10, but I paid half off. And this is one of the best games of all time. What can be said about Zelda Ocarina of Time that has been said? I think $5 complete in box. This isn't the special edition, but still, it's a pretty good game, classic. I already owned it, the cart only, but just to get the case and the manual and everything else for it, I think $5 is definitely worth it. Moving on to some classic Atari games I picked up at the Classic Gaming Expo. And the Retro Gaming Expo, actually, as well. This is a 7800, Atari 7800 Donkey Kong. This is complete, sealed in box. This is a port to the arcade for the Atari 7800. Now, the thing is, it doesn't have the Pi Factory. It plays actually very similar to the NES port. The thing about 7800 is the graphics are decent. It's kind of, they're 8-bit graphics, but the sound, it's got the same sound chip as the Atari 2600, so the sound is not very good in this particular port. Venture for the Atari 2600, this is sealed as well. This is an old new stock, never opened, but this is one of the best games for the Atari 2600. You move around different rooms, trying to collect different items, and cool to have that unopened. Picked up some games that have been unreleased. They're not really homebrew games, or some of them are homebrew, kind of reprogram, I should say. This is PacMan 4K. Now, a lot of you guys know, this is for the Atari 2600, by the way. A lot of you guys are aware that PacMan, when it came out initially for a 2600, it was a huge disaster. They rushed it to market. There's a lot of ghosting, no pun intended, but a lot of the ghosts would move around, and it was hard, confusing, kind of see where they went. This is the 4K version, and this is a lot better port. In fact, this is the best port of PacMan for the Atari 2600. Another game I really recommend is Junior Pac-Man for the Atari 2600, which did come out officially, and that's a great port. Or even Miss Pac-Man. But if you like Pac-Man and you have Atari 2600, definitely check out PacMan 4K. I got this in Portland at the Retro Gaming Expo. You can go to Atari Age. I think they have it on there as well, AtariAge.com. Excited to see this. Now, I haven't opened this up yet. This is D2K Arcade. Now, the D2K was arcade that some guy created new stages for, and this is for the Intellivision. And there's 4 new stages. It comes with not only the game, it comes with overlays for the controller, which is cool. I'm probably gonna keep this sealed. What do you guys think? You guys should just open it and do a review over it, or keep it sealed? Leave a comment, let me know what you guys think I should do with this game. Because it's pretty limited. Next one is for the Atari 5200. This is Tempest, one of my favorite arcade games of all time. To the 5200 now. Surprisingly, with the 5200 controller, if you get one that works, this game is a lot of fun to play. There's different stages. It's a shooter. Almost like a 3D dimensional vector style graphic shooter. You go around this map, and there's enemies coming towards you. Good game for the Atari 5200, really good port. Key is you gotta find a working 5200 controller, because those are pretty sketchy. Next couple games I want to point out for you are some Atari 2600 games. I picked up Asteroids. I can't believe I didn't have this before. I paid $1 for it. Classic Asteroids based on the arcade. Really good port to the Atari 2600. My personal opinion, a must-own for the console. My strategy is usually stay in the middle and shoot around the asteroids that come towards you, and they break up to smaller asteroids, and you have to avoid those. You have to boost, move around. Really good game. This next one is actually a homebrew for the 2600. Got this at Atari Age at the Portland Rich Gaming Expo. You can get it on their website as well. This is called Cheddary. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's basically Tetris for the 2600. Surprisingly, the music on this is phenomenal. It's got the music for that you hear and used to hearing in a Tetris game. And it's kind of fun to play Tetris for the 2600. I'm going to move on to the Jaguar. And this we're going to start with, I got one cartridge game, and that is Theme Park. This is by Ocean. I paid $10 for this. This game is like a sim game where you build a park, amusement park, and think SimCity, but like with amusement park style graphics. It's pretty fun to play. Not one of the better games for the console, but definitely one worth looking into. Okay, also one of my goals was to complete my Jag CD collection, so I got some Jaguar CD games. First one I want to show you is Hover Strike. This is kind of a simulator. You're in a hovercraft, and you have things you can move around in a 3D environment and shoot various enemies. It's kind of like you're in a tank simulator. Not a bad game. The music's decent. I love these cases that they come in, these Jag CDs ones. You get the instructions and the jewel case. This one is Baldies. I paid $10 for this. This is a simulator as well where you control these small little bald guys. They can build different houses, and you pretty much play God and you control their different environments. And like one of the early versions of a simulator, like The Sims, so to speak. And this is by, who makes this? This is Atari, GE maybe? I don't know. It doesn't even say who makes this game. But it comes with cool little overlays for the Jaguar controller. And not a bad game. This game is one of the harder games to find for the Jag CD, and I paid $10 for it. This is Highlander, the last of the McClouds. This is, imagine Zelda for the CDI, but worse. It uses animation, cartoon animation, but the voiceover is terrible. And it's like the gameplay, it's almost like a King's Quest style gameplay, but it's not very good. It's almost, think of it like Resident Evil style, where the camera angles are bad, original Resident Evil, and it's very easy to get lost. But for $10 for a pretty rare game, not bad. One also got Space Ace. This is $20. This is based on the arcade, and this is actually a really fun game. Great port for the Jaguar, and it's a cartoon, and you're supposed to hit certain buttons at certain points of the game to get to the next. It's by the same guys who did Dragon's Lair, who also animated The Secrets of Nim, the movie, which is one of my favorite cartoons growing up as a kid. Big thank you to Chris, my buddy Chris, who hooked me up with Primal Rage for the Jaguar. This is one of the rarest games for the Jag CD, and this is based on the Atari Arcade. It's a fighting game where you play as dinosaurs, and this is a great port to the Jag CD from the arcade. The music's great, and the great animation as well. Picked up some classic PlayStation 1 games. I got South Park. This is by Acclaim. This is South Park racing game. South Park Rally. I paid $5 for it at Half Price Books. This is ported to the N64 as well. It's a racing game where it's a kart style game where you play in South Park environment. Pro Pinball. This is a great pinball game for the PlayStation 1. There's been a series of a whole bunch of these Pro Pinball series of games. This is by Interplay. And if you like pinball, there's like 6 or 7 tables on here. Unique tables. This is interesting. This is 007 Racing. This is paid $4 for this, and this is imagine James Bond in a racing game, and there's different missions you have to go on. The weapons in here and power-ups are pretty cool. Graphics aren't bad. I loved this game growing up on the PC, and I'm glad I picked it up for the PlayStation 1. It just recently came out for 360 and PS3 and all that. But this is You Don't Know Jack. It's a trivia game. I paid $6 for it. And it's not a bad game if you like trivia, and it's kind of a fun party game. I play with others. This is by Sierra Games. They actually poured this over. A couple of Dreamcast games I picked up. I had picked up Four Wheel Thunder. This is an arcade port by Midway, and paid $6 for this. They also made Hydro Thunder. They made Off-Road Thunder. This is Four Wheel Thunder, and you play on a four-wheeler, and it's a racing game. Pretty fun for the Dreamcast. Jet Grind Radio. This is this great classic game. Paid $15 for this. I know they just recently released HD version of this game recently for the modern day consoles. But this is great. You get different missions and stuff like that. Move around. It's cel shaded graphics. Definitely a must own for the Dreamcast. Absolutely love this game. What do you guys think about this game? If you guys have played it, let me know. Picked up another television game. This is Dungeons and Dragons, Treasure of Tarman. And in this game, you move around in kind of a tunnel, and you have collect different items and defeat different enemies. I paid 50 cents for this game. I picked it up because it's Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm a fan of the series and the role-playing games and all that good stuff. Also picked up at the Retro Gaming Expo. I believe I paid $5 or $10 for this. This is an adapter to play Atari 2600 games on the Atari 5200. So I wanted one of these. One of the big downfalls of the 5200 is it never played Atari 2600 games when it came out. This is an adapter to do so. Two Genesis games I picked up also are, this is Tailspin. This is a platforming game. You play as Baloo based on the cartoon. I believe this is a Genesis exclusive. I paid $8 for it. I love these Disney games for the Genesis. They had games like Lion King and Aladdin, Little Mermaid, stuff like that came out really, really good. ScoobyDoo Mystery. This is by Acclaim and Sunsoft. This is a point-and-click adventure game. Don't be confused with ScoobyDoo Mystery for the Super Nintendo because it's a different game entirely. This one is a lot better, in my personal opinion. If you guys have played games like Day of the Tentacle, it's very similar in graphics and gameplay as that. It's a point-and-click for the Genesis. If you like point-and-click adventures, which Telltale's bringing them back nowadays, definitely check out ScoobyDoo Mystery for the Genesis. Also have some more games I picked up. My wife actually spotted this game at the Classic Gaming Expo. Paid $35 for it, but it's not a bad deal. It's by Namcot, which I guess is, I don't know if that's Namco or what, but it says Namcot. And it's Star Wars for the Famicom. And this is cool because it's complete in box, never opened. And the cool thing about this game is it's a different port than the Nintendo version. The Nintendo port, I wasn't a huge fan of. This is more of a platforming, kind of a side-scrolling game, very similar to Super Star Wars. If you're a Star Wars fan, definitely check this game out for the Famicom. It's pretty awesome, and it's complete in box. I love the case. It's pretty cool. Next game is Astro Grover. Now this has an interesting backstory behind it. I got this at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. This is one of 50 that they actually sold. Did never release officially for the 5200. It came out for other platforms, but it's a learning game. And there was a prototype that was found at a local Goodwill, and the guy decided to make 50 copies to share it. So it's very rare, hard to find for the 5200. It's a children's learning game based on Sesame Street characters, the Grover, obviously, from Sesame Street. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse for the Sega Master System. Paid $15 for this, but love, like I talked about before in part one, I had picked up Land of Illusion for the Game Gear. Very similar graphics to this one. You're Mickey Mouse, it's a platforming game. You can jump on people using your butt and destroy enemies, and it's actually a really fun game. I actually love these Castle Illusion games. Splatterhouse for the TurboGrafx 16. This game I paid, I want to say about $10 for this game, but it's a really good game for the TurboGrafx 16 based on the arcade. I think it's by Namco. Might be mistaken, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's a great platforming game. You play as this character who looks like Jason, and it's kind of a great game to play during Halloween. It's very gory. Now the port for the Genesis is a lot not as good, my personal opinion. They changed some things to blood and stuff, but definitely a game, a must own for the TurboGrafx 16 is Splatterhouse. Some Super Nintendo games is I got Out to Lunch. I couldn't get this game to work, so that's pretty lame. I paid a couple dollars for it. I couldn't get this game to work. Damn it. WrestleMania, the arcade game. This is $4. This is by Acclaim, based on the arcade game by Midway. Actually, you know what? It's think like Mortal Kombat graphics, but like wrestling. It's actually a really fun game. There's a limited amount of characters you can play as though, but gameplay is fun. One of the better wrestling games for Super Nintendo, my personal opinion. Picked up this Extratainment. This is Mountain Bike Rally, and this is by Life Fitness. And there's a thing that came with this. There's a bike, the exercise bike, that you literally came with this, and you have to plug this in your Super Nintendo, and you can ride the bike. And you need that bike to play this game, unfortunately. But I still felt like this was kind of a cool thing to own because you don't see it every day. It's very uncommon. I wouldn't say it's rare. It's rare that they had to find the bike, and they actually had a Speed Racer game as well for it, which is based on the cartoon. Kind of interesting, Quan, a guy I met at the Classic Gaming Expo in Vegas, hooked me up with a copy of Star Fox 2. I just recently did a review over this game. It's an unreleased game that never came out. It was 100% complete in Japan. A fan ported over in English and released it on ROM. So this is a really cool port. Actually, it looks really professional, nice sticker and everything. Gameplay-wise, it plays similar, but they changed some things. You can now go on land and do as a walker, and it's now you have more choices where as far as you move on the map. It's a very short game. It takes a half hour to 40 minutes to complete. But if you're a fan of Star Fox, definitely look into getting the ROM for Star Fox 2. Definitely worth checking out. Another game I haven't opened yet. This is Road Warriors, and this is autographed by the guy who actually made it. And this is kind of a racing game. It's number 4 of 40 that he produced. It came with a car, like a Matchbox car, and a ball, a whole bunch of cool things. Buddy Jason Mel Jesus Rocks did a soundtrack to this with a CD. That wasn't literally in the game, but it came with it. You're supposed to play it while you're playing the game. And it's kind of a racing game, and I got this at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. It's cool that they signed it to me. That's really neat. Picked up the game Genie for the Game Gear, which enabled you to put cheats and codes. There's actually a booklet in here that's included that has a whole bunch of codes and cheats for different Game Gear games. You plug this into your Game Gear, you put a game in there, and you put the code in, and it enables and unlocks cheats and stuff for that game. Baseball Stars for the Neo Geo Pocket, $5 for this. I love Baseball Stars in general. Neo Geo Pocket is an underrated handheld in my personal opinion. And this plays a lot different than the NES port. It plays a lot different than the Neo Geo port. It's an own baseball game. Pretty fun. Another retro game I picked up is Nights into Dreams, and this is a great game. I paid 18 bucks for it. It's a fun kind of I love just flying around, collecting items. A must-own for the Saturn. It's by Sonic Team, and there's also Christmas Nights into Dreams, which I want to pick up as well. But definitely this is a must-own for the Saturn. Guys, that concludes part 2 of games I've been playing and picked up. What games did you like that I picked up, and what games didn't you like? Please leave a comment below, let me know. Feel free to do video responses as well. And I'll be back with part 3.